Ryan, I need you to settle a question for me, a dispute sort of. Just how twisted is the Shadow Planet?
As twisted as Metroid?
But is it insanely twisted? That's the real debate. I want to know if there's truth in advertising.
I don't get where the name came from, actually. Like, you don't really get an idea of what the game is about, even just through the name.
It doesn't speak to me. But I mean, I get that it's Shadow, and you're on a planet, and it's kind of twisted because it's sinuous. But how insane is it, really?
It's actually pretty normal. I mean, going back to the Metroid comparison.
It wasn't like staring into the face of Cthulhu or something along those lines?
No, the Abyss did not stare back at me.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that you're still sane. It would be difficult to get good work out of it. Well, it might actually get kind of interesting if you weren't sane anymore. But tell me about this game, because I've been watching you play it for the past couple of weeks, and it's stimulating the little Metroid gland in my brain.
Well, it really is. When I started the game, I had no idea what kind of game it was. I hadn't followed any.
Aside from the fact that it was insanely twisted.
Yeah, and the name did not exactly give a clue as to what it was. And I popped it open, and the first time I hit the back button to bring up the map, it was like, oh, okay, I know what to expect.
One of those games.
It's one of these games. All right, and it continues. I mean, it's pretty par for the formula. The one key area that it does deviate is that the puzzles are not as simple as find the missiles to shoot the red doors. The puzzles require a little bit more lateral thinking.
But I mean, you're basically playing as a what, like a little spaceship?
You're a little flying saucer.
So it's not Metroid-y in the platforming sense. You're not running and jumping.
No, there's no running and jumping.
No space jump. You are the space jump.
But you're going from place to place, and there's a hub area, and like there's sort of an underwater level, and there's a level where not gravity, but your perspective shifts. And each of these levels are sort of the equivalent of like a Bryn Star.
Right.
Sort of section of a Metroid game.
So it's pretty big. Like the insanely twisted Shadow Planet is a large planet.
It's actually, the map is probably smaller than we've grown accustomed to in these type of games. Compare it to like a Symphony of the Night or a Shadow Complex. Mm-hmm. And the map is actually probably about half that size.
I see. So more like the original Metroid maybe in scale?
Probably. Yeah, that sounds about right. The maps are really small, and they're a little bit more self-contained. Mm-hmm. You have to take those powers back, and that opens up new areas in the hub world. But you don't necessarily, if you want to go back to any of the individual levels, that's just to open up bonuses.
So the structure kind of sounds a bit like Blaster Master or Metroid Fusion or something, where it's kind of like each area is its own stage as opposed to interlinking a lot.
Yeah, they don't interlink in a wide manner, and then you can go back to them at any time, and there's no obstacle to doing that, but there's really a very small benefit to doing that, because there's only a few times, at least in my playthrough, where I found that I couldn't access something in a given level until I found a tool at a later level.
So what is the point of insanely twisted Shadow Planet? I mean, I've seen little dude floating around and solving puzzles, and it's cool looking, but
the story is all told through these abstract cutscenes that owe a little something to. They had a sort of a World of Goo sort of feel. If you ever saw the animated cutscenes that were in that game, and the game opens up with this evil force invading a planet, and your little flying saucer is out to save the planet. Like, the story is sort of bare bones, told in a visually interesting manner, but isn't really a part of the game. The part of the game really is to go to the waypoint, find out what the puzzle is at that waypoint, and then use your tools to solve the puzzle.
I like the idea of having puzzles that are more deeply integrated into the game mechanics than just, like you said, find the missile, shoot the red door.
Yeah, and it even extends so far as to go into the boss fights. Like, there are a few boss fights that are find the weak point, avoid the enemy pattern, but a lot of the boss fights revolve around the core gameplay mechanic taught in that level and creative application of it. Like, there's one electric theme level that all takes place in the dark, and only the immediate area around your ship is highlighted, and when you're stalked the whole level by this Cthulhu-like monster, and at the very end of the level, to take on the boss, you have to take this little key from section to section, put the key in a device, shoot it with your electric gun, repeat. And this Cthulhu monster the whole time will sit in the dark and wait for you to abandon it so it can go and steal it back
Interesting. All right, so I mean, what's your verdict on it? Good, great, awesome.
It's pretty all right. I mean, if you like those games, I have sort of a weird relationship with sort of Metroid style games, is that I can play about one a year and really get into one a year, but if I play more than that, I start to get burned out. So I haven't played one for about a year. So
oh well, good timing there.
Yeah, it really worked out. I gave it a B+.
And that's out on Xbox Live today?
It's out today.
I guess I need to plug my Xbox back into the internet, huh?
Probably.